Well, hey there. Welcome or welcome back. Tisha here, back with another Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 10, Episode 7 recap, BeTwan Two Worlds. This episode irritated me to no end. Spending like 15 to 20 minutes watching Martell and Marceau go back and forth, having Maurice to the point where I feel like whatever Martell has on him must be so big because he's giving Martell so much credit for being a good friend when we're seeing the polar opposite for all of them. What does he have on you when it comes to this cheating stuff? Also, yes, I've seen what is currently going on between Martell and the ex. My thoughts on it are this. I think that they both laid hands on one another. I think that the Mel is in a situation where she needs to keep a paper trail. And I really wish that she would stop covering up for this man, because now what's happened is, because you before said he never did anything to you, people are not going to believe you. My thoughts on it is that it's wrong either way for them to put hands on one another. And it's clear based on the messages that she released that they both have touched one another. End of my thoughts on that. So let's get back to this episode. Destiny and Lance meet up to get her some clarity. Lance tells us that he did see himself getting exclusive with Destiny and maybe eventually marrying her. I don't know how he was going to do that, being that I believe he's still married. And he says something similar to that later on in the episode when he's with the guys. But he says that he saw some red flags, and we get some clips of her saying like she's dating other guys and things of that nature. He explains that he was told that he had a baby on the way, but he was not sure. And because he was not sure, he decided that he didn't want to tell her. He didn't want to tell anybody until he knew for sure that it was his. He didn't know how she would react. Basically, he wanted to keep on doing whatever it was that they were doing, because he knew if he were to say something, that Destiny would probably cut things off. She can't understand why, if they're supposed to be friends before anything, why he didn't just tell her. She says that even before we flew out, even before you flew out, for her being in labor, like we had a long conversation on the phone where we talked about things, and I felt like that would have been a perfect time for you to tell me. I don't feel like you were being honest with me. We had a friendship. And now I'm hearing from Tisha that your mom even left early to help you like handle the situation with the labor. And Lance is like, what are you talking about? The baby wasn't even born then. He was just ready to get there. I cannot remember. Y'all let me know down below. I meant to look back at it. I can't remember, but part of me feels like she did say something like that, but Nell's saying she didn't. Help me remember, because I can't. I got so many different shows on my mind right now that I really don't legitimately remember. So Destiny said the whole thing about the hour, and that gave him an opportunity to say something. He said that there's no way that his mom could have said that she flew out to do that, because the baby wasn't even born then. And he didn't just hide it from her, he hid it from his parents. He hid it from everyone. She's like, look, I'm not upset about you having a child. I'm upset about you not being honest, because our friendship now has changed, not just from this, but from the way that, we handled things when we were dating. He tells her that he wasn't completely transparent about certain things, that his feelings were a lot deeper than she knew. She tells us she heard some things, but because she never heard it from him, she just let it go. He says that even though we weren't exclusive, we were dating. And I feel like you played in my face. And she's like, played in your face? How did I play in your face? And he's like, with my bodyguard. You had your event. I paid for you to have a bodyguard, which we later find out was actually his god brother by the name of Twan. And there you were flirting with the guy that I paid for you to be there. We know she's a flirt. She's a single woman. Are we surprised? No. Destiny says, we are friends and the bodyguard is fine. I didn't know he was your god brother. I did hear from Trish, though, that he is interested. And if he were to approach me, I might take him up on that. And I just want to let you know rather than having you find out via the internet like I did. Lance is like, I can't even really say anything. I just had a baby. So I'm going to go ahead and give you my blessing. And then he apologizes, but there's no point in Lance giving his blessing because Lance really doesn't want the two of them to deal with one another. Because if he didn't have a problem with it, he wouldn't have brought it up so many times in this episode. And he's doing the same childish thing that he did the last season, which is not being honest with Destiny about how he feels. My question is, are there no other men in Huntsville that were always dealing with relatives and all these other things? Like, let's branch out a little bit. So they laugh and everything, and they're good for now. So we get to Maurice and the guys meeting up at this place called X Golf. We got Chris. I don't know. Chris looked like he was about to go out on the tee. I said, what is he wearing? Ken, his friend Will, Martell, and Lance. Martell asks about how the baby is. The baby we find out of Lance's is 12 weeks. He then asks about how him and Destiny are. Lance says, I should have told her. But the word on the street is she's interested in one of my boys. These guys really do like to gossip. He says that he does have feelings about it, but he can't really say too much because he's been hiding stuff too, like he's married, meaning he's probably still married. Martell's advice is to strap up and find a woman that's going to help you do certain things because that's what Coleslaw does. Coleslaw helps him do certain things like cook. Coleslaw helps him do certain things like sits in the passenger seat and harasses his ex. That's what Coleslaw does. Maurice recommends a vasectomy so he can have kids on his terms. How about y'all just stop poking everything and like slow down and focus on what it is that you need to focus on? How about you actually get a divorce? How about that? So Marceau arrives and he daps everyone up, including Martell. I understand being cordial, but when I saw that, I said the men are so fake. Because if I don't like you, if you're spreading rumors about me, if you're speaking disrespectfully about the person who's supposed to be my partner, if you are saying things to the point where it's causing a rift in my marriage, I'm not dapping you up. A simple hello would suffice. Everything else is too much for me. And to be honest, I wouldn't even probably say hello to you. I'd probably stare you in your face. So Martell feels like um Marceau is fake for acting like there's nothing wrong between the two of them, but he's doing the exact same thing because he didn't bump his own fist. Y'all fist bumped each other. Marceau tells us that the outcome tonight rests on Martell's shoulders because he's the gas. And if there's a spark with Martell, then he's going to blow. The both of them are liars, and the both of them like to poke at each other. And I feel like while they're poking, other people catch strays. So Ken fills in the guys on his situation with Trish. I guess because their storyline, which is Marquez, got kicked off of the show. Now they have to have something else going on with them in order for them to remain on the show. So now all of a sudden they're having complications and Ken isn't happy. So he said he's been with Trish for 3 years and there's been no progression, that she hasn't done the things that he's asked, like therapy, that she still has trauma and they have a lot of back and forth and a lot of disrespect. You want her to do therapy, but I think you need to do therapy as well, Little Hulk, because there's a reason why you keep on finding yourself wanting to be with women who have baggage. And I'm not saying baggage like kids, I'm saying baggage like they're still married. Baggage like you're taking on kids that aren't biologically yours to make yourself feel good and to rub it in people's faces. But that's just my opinion. At this point, he says he doesn't even know if he's going to want to marry Trish because there's so much work that she needs to do. He is irritated and he is frustrated. And Martella's over there like, he ain't been messing with his side for well over 5 years, saying like you did a lot, like, oh, it's just too much. Bro, everybody doesn't want to be you. So Martell says Tris, told me that you know Ariane. Like, how do you know Ariane? So Ken's like, I don't know her. And then he asks Will, and Will's like, I mean, I met her one time at my baby mama's house. And then he goes over like, what about you? Maurice is like, what about you, Fletch? So they're going around the table saying how they've met her. It's the irony is they're joking about this, but these are the same people who were supposedly supposed to be his ex's friends. And it just goes to show you how, at the end of the day, everyone is in it for themselves. And as long as their stuff isn't out there, it's okay for them to do what they're doing. So Martell is trying to clear his woman's name because he says Marceau made it seem like she messed with a bunch of people. And then Marceau later texts him and said he could have been mistaken. And Marceau says again at the table, well, I could have been mistaken. They laugh about it. Then he says, I appreciate, y'all telling me that because I'm the type of person who's going to look out for my boy. That's when we hear him say again, which is why he let it be known that Tisha was sleeping with the guy. Apparently, this was in college, so I don't even know why this is a thing that we're being talked about. At least that's what it showed in the clip. Then Will jokes and says, actually, I got a confession. I actually do know Ariane. She came by my house for a training session. And the guys start laughing because it's a joke about the way that Trish switched it up when it came to Martell. So all the men go outside around the fire pit. Goodness gracious, the way this thing drained me. If there's something that I don't mention, because there's a lot they were saying that I did not write down, and you want to talk about it, put it in the notes, put it in the comments below. So the guys go outside to the fire pit. Maurice is talking about how, not Maurice, it's Marceau. Marceau is talking about how he's cold and he's hungry. And he starts making coleslaw jokes that he wants to eat coleslaw in the back of a Buick, and he wants to put slaw on his dog. And he's doing this to get under Martell's skin because it's an Ariana reference, because Funky Dineva started calling Ariana a side like coleslaw. But it's gone, in my opinion, over Martell's head. But you want to get under his skin. They try to figure out where things wrong. We hear about this whole Scolt situation again. That 9 years ago, Martell and Marceau decided to go into business together. It didn't go well. They went in different directions. Martell says when they did it, Marceau couldn't find a job. He got let go from the movie theater, and he suggested that they start a business together. He wanted to be bought out of the business once it was good. Marceau doesn't like that Martell keeps trying to push it like he did him a favor. It did sound like Mel and Martell did a favor for them in that before. I don't know the whole situation with it. They both lie so much. Who knows? But I'm overhearing about Scope. I am. So he's saying, you're not telling the truth, because when I worked at the movie theater as a manager, I also owned 10 homes and multiple apartment complexes. I had a 60 and a 12 and a 4-unit complex. And Fletcher's looking like that can't be true. Like, if that's the case, if he had all of that going on, then he wouldn't need to be working at the movie theater. I don't know, nor do I care. But Fletch, I noticed you didn't say it to him at the table. You said it in confession. Marceau says the real problem is that Martell got caught cheating and tried to pull everyone down with him. That is the truth. The truth also is that the Scotts spent a lot of time talking, and I'm talking about both Scotts, spent a lot of time talking about the infidelity in the Holtz situation and the Holtz marriage issues and the Holtz and the Holtz and the Holtz. And at some point, you had to have known that Martell was going to come back at you because you keep talking about the Holtz when y'all got the Scotts to talk about. He says that he continues to make bad decisions and he blames others for it. I do agree with that. Now that Marceau is rising up, he says that Martell wants to pull him down. He said, I made 2 jokes, one about the both of them not celebrating their 10-year anniversary because one has been a busy bee. One has been busier than the other. So Martell says to him currently, like, what did you mean by that? And he said, meaning you were cheating. So he says, but Martell told me that it disturbed him. So I said, you know what? My bad. I wouldn't want you to do that to me. And since then, I didn't really say anything. He says, but then Martell decided to go and do interviews and to put things out there in the blogs and to talk about me and my brother. And then me and me and me and me. It's always Marceau's name in his mouth. That is true. But you and your wife allude to things too, as did Wanda, because Wanda spoke up. Miss Wanda spoke up a lot for Tisha when the different things were going on. So Martell's like, I didn't say anything till Tisha says something. I personally don't remember that being the case. But once again, I don't care, because the narrative was out there that the Scotts were cheating. And some of that did come from Holt, because he released certain pictures and his ex released certain pictures. And he told Mel stuff, which is why Mel was saying the things that she was saying, just like Marceau probably told Tisha stuff. It's what y'all do. Y'all threw each other under the bus. Both of y'all did. So he's like, "You supposed to be my boy," da, 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 da. And he's like, "I'm not your boy." Martell says, "I'm not your not Martell." Marceau says, "I'm not your boy." These M's. Um, he starts talking about how you said you was gonna come back after my video and you didn't. And Marceau is like, whatever else you got, put it on the table. Put the whole thing on the table. And Maurice just wants them to work things out. He's like, we're not gonna get anywhere here. I think I'm gonna have to do this one-on-one. Why? Why are you trying so hard to bring these two men together who don't need to be together anymore? If I don't think it's okay to want two guys to befriend one another when they keep disrespecting one another's wives. Like, we're gonna call a thing a thing. Tisha disrespect Martell, Martell disrespected Tisha. I don't feel like there's any coming back from the things that they did to each other. So we see Nell meet with Lance and her godson Twan to talk about workout. She and Lance do a little bit of boxing, do a little bit of rope exercise, and then Lance fills his mom in on his meeting with Destiny. Lance and Miss Nell are full of crap, because y'all say one thing one minute and another the next. You can't have a problem with something and then want to give your blessing the next. And then when you get in front of Destiny, you kind of downplay it a little bit. But then when you're not in front of her, you switch it up and say other things. So he talks about finding out that Twan is interested in Destiny because of Trish. Twan, we find out, took Destiny home after the event and now wants to know if he hit it. I know it was a joke, but that's not any of her business. And I don't like the idea of trying to make it seem like Destiny's out here being loose just because she's having conversations with different men. But Destiny, I also blame you for this, because you don't have other things going on in your life that you can show us. I don't want a storyline of issues between you and Lance and Miss Nell about some guy. I don't. Like, are you not allowed to film with your son? Are you not allowed to show us more of this real estate business thing that you've gotten into? Like, why do we got to keep talking about this? So he says, no, she wants to know if he hit it. He says no. If he did, he would have told her that. Twan, you're not about to tell her that. Lance feels like it's weird, but he claims if there's a mutual interest, it's cool. Nell feels a way about it because she doesn't like how Destiny is moving. Nell says she knows, even though Lance isn't saying it, she knows her son, and she knows that Destiny and Lance have relations, and that makes it serious for her. She says she didn't want Lance and Destiny to date in the first place, and now her relationship with Destiny is different as a result of that. She asks Twan, like, do you want to date Destiny? And Twan's like, Destiny is beautiful, but if we go there, it would have to be some serious talks, because Lance isn't a random guy. Like, Lance is my brother. End of that. He gonna end up meeting up with Destiny probably, because that's where this is going. So we see Destiny and Nell meet up because she wants them to be back in a space where they were before Destiny does. She says she's known Nell for 10 years. She's confided in Nell. Nell's been there for her. Nell helped her when her son was in the hospital. Nell helped her when she was going through her divorce. Nell is somebody that she can call for advice. Like, that is her sounding board. She's like a mother figure to her. And I keep forgetting that Destiny did not have a mom in her life. She says that she's confused by Nell's energy, that Nell has been acting different. And Nell tells her, "You're the one who said that you needed to assess our relationship moving forward because I invited Sunny to the bachelorette party when I said everyone was invited. Sunny is not my friend. We do not talk. I did not invite her to throw a dig at you. I invited her because I invited everybody." So they're both feeling like they move funny. Interesting how Destiny expects for Nell to be loyal to her, but Destiny wasn't loyal to some of her other friends. I'm just saying because you were around the side too. And when um Mel had a problem with it, you acted like Mel was wrong for having a problem with it. I'm just saying, you know. Um they both feel like one another move funny in LA. Destiny's like, "You left early without a word. Tisha told me it was because of the baby." Nell then starts flipping and talking about Tisha needs to worry about her own business, her own marriage, and what she got going on with Martell going live and doing interviews. And I said, "Up, here we go, Nell. You and Tisha just met and said y'all weren't going to throw any blows at each other. And here you are. And Destiny is going to run quick, fast, in a hurry and tell Tisha this. And now you about to be beefing with the Scotts again." So she says, Tisha is lying. The baby wasn't born. As I said, I can't remember, but I thought she said something to that effect. I don't think Tisha brought that out of thin air. She then brings up Destiny flirting with Twan in her face while dating her son and how she didn't like it. I do think that it's tacky. Whether you are having like a close thing or not, you sitting there flirting with the guy that you're dating while his mom is sitting there, like, come on, that's not a good look. Destiny says, "Look, at the time we were already having some problems." Nell's like, "I didn't know that." She was like, "Well, did you want us to announce it? Like, we're not going to tell you everything that's going on. You're saying I was making googly eyes, but your son was making babies." I was like, "Oh, she stung her with that." But Nell didn't say anything. Nell just smiled. What did I want to say? I wanted to say something about that. If y'all were already having problems, how bad was it because he paid for his godbrother to secure your event? So how bad was it? But then again, he was doing his thing, so it is what it is. Um Nell then starts talking about Destiny and the different men that she's dating, like Moses and Lance and Twine, and who's going to be next. And Destiny says, "The only one that you just said that counts is Moses. Don't put miles on me because I've never slept with Lance." Nell doesn't buy it. Destiny's like, "Look, same way you have your forever, I want mine." Even though Nell has a problem with it, she tells her that, Lance gave you his blessing with Twan. So if it's something that you want to do, go ahead and do it. Destiny's like, "I can't get rid of you one way or the other. You're going to be my mama." She says she loves Nell, all the stuff about her being there for her, coming to the hospital and those things. Destiny's like, "Nell, in this group, people have said before that I'm not their friend. And it hurt when you kind of pulled away and said that you didn't know me." And Nell was like, "Well, maybe I'll say I didn't know you in that moment." I don't recall hearing Nell apologize though. I don't. But they're good. It's not anything else with them. I wish I had my old notes because I really can't remember about Tisha, but I feel like Tisha didn't make that up. I feel like Nell said that. I just can't remember. I feel like Nell over inserts herself though, and for Nell to be a little bit older, I wish she didn't come across as messy as she does. I just don't like the fact that this is going to be the storyline. But y'all let me know what you guys thought of this one. I'm about to go watch the show that I really want to watch, which is Heart and Hustle. And I'll see you guys in a few. Until next time.